A Gulgan man said, "This major earthquake is just a sign." A great earthquake struck the world, dragging the crystals that were the source of the world's light deep into the earth, and many monsters emerged from the cracks. These things are small compared to the disasters that are yet to come. This earthquake is merely a harbinger of greater disasters to come. However, there is still hope. For souls who will receive the enlightenment of light will become rays of hope. As the world is on the verge of darkness due to a major earthquake, the orphan boys are raised by a monk named Tapapa in the remote village of Yor. The four of them head off on an adventure to the altar cave, which was formed when a major earthquake caused crystals to sink into the ground. Going deeper into the cave, the group reaches the wind crystal. But, just as they reach the crystal, the monster, land turtle, attacks them. After defeating the land turtle, the four receive a revelation of light from the wind crystal and are chosen as warriors of light. Thus, the four decide to set out on a journey to bring back light to this world. After returning to Yor, the four say goodbye to Tapapa and the others who had taken care of them and set off on their journey. The four of them first visit Kazus in the south. There they found the villagers, all turned into ghostly beings by the jinn's curse. Among them was Sid, who happened to be visiting from Canaan. They learn from Sid where the airship is hidden and borrow it. Then, hearing that Princess Sara of Sassoon Castle has a mithril ring that can seal the jinn, they headed to Sassoon Castle. They learn that jinn's curse has also extended to those within the castle. They are informed by King Sassoon that the jinn is in the sealed cave, and that he has not found Sara and is concerned that she may have been kidnapped by the jinn. They hurried to sealed cave to check on Sara's safety. They meet up with Sara halfway through the sealed cave. They tells her to return to the castle because it is dangerous, but she insists on coming with they, saying that she can't seal the jinn without the ring she has. Finding the jinn at the deepest part of the cave, they attempt to seal him away. But, the ring is ineffective against the jinn, who has gained amplified dark powers, and they are forced to battle the jinn. They weaken the jinn in battle, and then finally seal him away with the power of the ring. Returning to the castle, they cast the ring into the sacred spring, lifting jinn's curse. The curse is lifted and the king returns to his original form, giving him a canoe as a reward. They return to Kazus and are met up with Sid, who is keen to return to Canaan. But, the road to Canaan is blocked by large rocks and is impassable. They hire Taka the blacksmith to attach a mithril bow to the airship. They board the airship and crash into a huge rock at full speed. They succeed in smashing the huge rock blocking the path, but the airship is also destroyed. After arriving in Canaan, they part ways with Sid and begin gathering information. They then hear about a young man named Desh who has purchased a spell called Mini that is needed to enter the dwarven village. They follow him to Dragon's Peak. On their way to the top of the mountain, they are captured by Bahamut and taken to the dragon's lair. There they meet Desh. Desh has lost his memory and can only remember his own name. However, he tells them that he has a mission. But, while talking to Desh, Bahamut attacks. They manage to escape and in exchange for Desh giving them Mini, they decide to travel with him. They then visited the dwarf village of Tosus and headed to the home of a doctor named Shelko, who knew a way into Myraluka Valley. They treat him with an antidote for food poisoning, and he shows them a way out into the valley. There, they learn that after a great earthquake, a sea dragon appeared and destroyed their ship, making it impossible for them to go out to sea. They were told that they would be given the ship Enterprise if they could defeat the sea dragon, so they headed to Nepto Temple to find out why the sea dragon had appeared. When they arrive at the temple, they notice that the Nepto dragon statue is missing one of its eyes. In order to find the dragon statue's eye, they use Mini to go deeper into the temple. If go further in, we'll find a large rat that stole the dragon's eye. Defeat it and take back the dragon's eye. It tells us that after losing the gem in one of eyes, has lost mind and started to act violently, and that the water has lost its light due to the great earthquake, so he wants us to bring back its light. The dragon then entrusted them with the Fang of Water, which contained the power of water, and fell into a deep sleep. After calming down the Nepto dragon, they obtain the Enterprise as promised and set off on the open seas. When they arrive in Tokal on the western continent, they hear a variety of information. In Tokal, soldiers came from moving wooden castles in the western desert and took away the men of the village. The villagers tell that the soldiers were wearing the Argus crest. They also hear new information in the village of the ancients. The ancient people built a super civilization that keeps this continent afloat, and the driving force behind this is the Tower of Owen. In the past, they used their power too much, causing a disaster known as the Light Rebellion. Most of the ancient people were wiped out when the light went out of control. To stop this, 4 dark warriors appeared from the dark world, and they learned that they had stopped the light from going out of control. In the forest where the fairies live, the fairies tell that the Elder Tree has been cursed and taken away by Hein, the priest of Argus, and that if the Elder Tree is not returned, the forest will wither and die. They also went to the kingdom of Argus, but found no one there. Upon visiting Gulgan Valley, they hear a prophecy from an elder. The elder told them Desh's destiny lies in the Tower of Owen, and gave them the toad magic they needed to enter the Tower of Owen. Upon entering the Tower of Owen, Desh begins to regain his memories little by little. Desh remembers that he is an ancient being and gradually begins to remember how the tower works. Once they reach the top floor, they battle Medusa. Medusa explains that she is ordering someone named Zen to destroy the tower and cause the floating continent to crash. They defeat Medusa, but the tower's power reactor has already been destroyed and is on the verge of exploding. Desh then regains all of his memories. Desh was the caretaker of the tower and was scheduled to be awakened if something unusual happened to the tower. He then says his mission is to fix the reactor and jumps into the burning reactor. Desh says he will use a device in the tower to stop the whirlpool that is blocking the exit to the open ocean. He tells them to go to the island beyond, where the dwarfs live, in search of the power of fire. Thanks to Tish's efforts, they were able to warp outside the tower, and the whirlpool blocking the exit to the open ocean disappeared. Believing Desh's words, they set off for the island where the dwarfs live. When they reach Dwarven Cave, the dwarfs tell them that their clan's treasure, the Horn of Ice, has been stolen. The culprit, Gutsko, has fled to an underground lake deep in the cave, and they ask them to pursue him. They go deeper into the underground lake and battle Gutsko, eventually winning. Then retrieve the Horn of Ice from Gutsko. Returning to the dwarfs, attempt to return the Horn of Ice to the altar. At that moment, Gutsko appears from hiding, steals the 2 horns, and runs away. Gutsko says that with the Horn of Ice, they will be able to reach the fire crystal and obtain the power of fire, and then he heads off to the fire cave. They quickly follow Gutsko to the fire cave. Having gained the power of fire, Gutsko transforms into Salamander and attacks. After defeating the Salamander, the 4 receive a revelation from the fire crystal and gain new powers. After reporting to the dwarfs that they had defeated Gutsko and preparing to leave the cave, a seriously injured Tokkul villager appears, asking for help, and dies. If rushed to Tokkul, will be ambushed and captured. When the 4 wake up, they find themselves locked in a prison in a moving wooden castle. There they also find King Argus, who is being held captive. According to the king, Hein, a priest of Argus, was possessed by a demon after a great earthquake and used his magical powers to create this castle. They are asked by the king to defeat Hein. Using Minnie's magic, the 4 escape from the prison and battle Hein on the top floor of the castle. Hein was fascinated by dark powers and wanted to use them to take over the world. The 4 struggle with Hein's magical powers but manage to defeat him. With Hein's death, the curse on the Elder Tree is lifted, and the tree returns to the forest. The Elder Tree thanked them and gave them the Fang of Wind. He then went into a 1,000-year sleep to recover from the injuries he had sustained at the hands of Hein. When go to the kingdom of Argus, where peace has been restored, the king will give the Wheel of Time. The king said to give it to Sid in Canaan. The 4 of them take it to Sid in Canaan and have him use it to modify an airship. And so the 4 of them set off on a journey to the world outside the floating continent. When the 4 of them left the floating continent, what they saw was an expansive ocean. An old man from the only shipwreck they find tells them that the world sank into the ocean immediately after a major earthquake. He says that the only survivors in this world are himself and his daughter, who is sleeping there. When they use the potion on her, she wakes up and tells them her name is Arya, and that she is a priestess of the Temple of Water. She told them that the power of the earth had caused a great earthquake that had caused the water crystal to sink deep into the earth, that it had turned the people protected by the power of the water to stone, and that it had caused the continent to sink. She also suggested that if a shard of the water crystal from the Temple of Water was offered to the sunken crystal, the curse might be lifted. Although Elia's body was weak, she strongly wished to accompany the 4 to the Temple of Water. The 5 of them found a piece of the water crystal at the Temple of Water, then headed to the Cave of Waters. They reach the altar deep inside the cave, and thanks to Elia's efforts, the water crystal regains its light. Immediately afterwards, someone fires an arrow at the four warriors of light, and Arya, who tries to shield them, is hit by the arrow and falls to the ground. The one who shot the arrow said that he had come to kill the warrior of light and destroy the water crystal so that the light would never return to it. He then attacks, saying he is acting on Zan's orders. After defeating the Kraken, the four receive the title of Water from Arya and gain new powers. But Arya's injuries were severe, and she passed away, leaving behind the final words, "I want the world to be saved." Immediately afterwards, they are caught in an earthquake caused by the sunken continent resurfacing, and the four lose consciousness. The four wake up in a town called Amur and are told that they have slept there for 3 days. They learn from the townsfolk that a man named Golda has chained their ship so it can't leave port, to stop someone from taking his crystal. But, on the way to Golda Manor, there is a bottomless swamp that can't be crossed. In order to cross the bottomless swamp, you will need floating shoes, and will hear that they are owned by Delilah, who lives in the city's sewers. The four of them go to Gil, who has the key to the sewer system, and ask him to lend them the key. Gil realizes that these four are legendary warriors of light and offers to guide them to the sewers. Outside the house, the four old men who believe themselves to be warriors of light eavesdrop on their conversation and get there first into the sewers. As they make their way through the sewers, they come across four old men being attacked by a monster, and they manage to defeat the monster and save the old men. When they reach Delilah, they ask her if they can borrow her shoes. She tries to throw the shoe at them. At that moment, the four old men from before appear and say, "It's dangerous, get back." Delilah throws a shoe that turns out to be a bomb, and they are saved in the nick of time. Delilah doesn't believe they are warriors of light, but the elders convince her. The four of them are able to borrow Delilah's floating shoes and head to Golda Manor. Once they reach Golda Manor, the four proceed through the mansion and come face to face with Golda. Golda then says, "I won't give you the crystal," and challenges to a battle. The four of them defeat Golda, but he uses his last bit of strength to shatter the crystal. When they touch the key left behind by Golda, Golda's curse is lifted and the chains on the ships disappear. Now able to set sail on their ship, the four return to Amur. After returning to Amur, the four hear that Saronia's airships are very fast and head to Saronia. But, while flying over Saronia in an airship, it is suddenly hit by gunfire and crashes. After crash landing in Saronia, they find the king's army splitting into two factions, with each side fighting the other. They make inquiries in the town to investigate the abnormal situation in the country. Then, in a bar in the castle town, come across Prince Aelus, who was exiled from the castle, fighting with some thugs. After helping the prince, they learn from him that the king has suddenly changed and the prince has been banished. They then head to the castle with the prince. At the castle gate, they speak to the gatekeeper, who says, no one can let in an exiled man, even if he is a prince. However, a soldier who arrived later said that the king had ordered them to enter and they were allowed in. The five are invited into the castle and told to rest until their meeting with the king the next day. That night, the prince confides his fear that the king does not love him. They comfort the prince by saying, there is no parent who doesn't love their child. There must be a reason. Suddenly the king arrives and tries to slash Prince Aelus with a knife. Soon after, the minister appears and orders the king to kill the prince quickly. But the king stabs himself with the knife. He says he would rather take his own life than kill a child. The minister, whose spell on the king was broken, becomes enraged and transforms into the monster bird Garuda to attack. After defeating Garuda, the dying king asks the prince to succeed him and restore peace to Saronia, before dying. Just before his father's death, the prince felt his father's love and decided to become the heir to the kingdom of Saronia. The four of them acquire a new airship, the Nautilus, in the now peaceful Saronia. They also learn that only 3 mags could cause this much havoc: Zand, Doga, and Yune. The Nautilus can take them to the continent of Dark, so they head for the continent where the 3 are. The 4 discover Doga's manor on the continent, where they meet Doga. The moment Doga met the 4, he realized they were warriors of light, and told them that Zand was the source of the calamity. They learn that the person who has been controlling the monsters they have been battling up until now is the mastermind behind it all. He then begins to talk about his and Zand's past. Zand, Doga, and Yune were apprentices of the sorcerer Noah. Before his death, Noah bestowed magical powers on Doga, the dream world on Yune, and human life on Zand. But Zand was not happy with this and left the area. And Zand caused a great earthquake using machines created by the ancient people and the power of earth crystals. They tell Doga that the earth crystal has been destroyed by Golda. However, what was destroyed was the gold-producing crystal that Doga created, and Doga says that the real earth crystal is still somewhere. They hear that Zand has sealed away the power of light and is summoning darkness, seeking to take that power for himself. Doga offers to accompany them to help stop Zand. He tells to go to the cave of the magic circle, which leads to the dark world, and tells that the entrance to the cave is in his room. The 5 of them use Mini to transform into dwarfs and enter the cave. At the back of the cave there is a magic circle where Doga will cast a spell that will allow to ride the Nautilus to the bottom of the sea. He then tells the 4 to go to the Temple of Time to obtain Noah's lute. He says that Noah's lute can help awaken Yune, who has been asleep for a long time. After waking her up, tell them to go with Yune to get the giant airship, the Invincible. He says he's going to get the Eureka key, and parts ways with the 4. The 4 follow Doga's instructions to go to the Temple of Time, where they obtain Noah's lute. Next, go to the cave where Yune sleeps and visit her while she is asleep. Using Noah's lute will wake Yune up. Having been briefed on the situation by Doga in her dream, she immediately offers her cooperation. The four of them travel with Yune to the ancient ruins to obtain a giant airship capable of crossing the mountains. She also gives them a fang of fire. She says there are 4 of these fangs in total, and that they are what she needs to defeat Zand. She explains that the only remaining piece is the Fang of Earth, and that need a giant airship to get to it. When arrived at the ancient ruins, adamantite was blocking path. However, Yune destroys adamantite, clearing the way. When they reach the bottom of the ruins, they find a giant airship called Invincible lying dormant there, and take it. They board the Invincible and head to the Cave of Darkness to obtain the Fang of Earth. After obtaining the Fang of Earth, Yune leaves, promising to meet back at Doga's manor. The 4 travel across the mountain in the Invincible and reach the Cave of Darkness. As the 4 attempt to obtain the Fang of Earth in the cave, they are attacked by Hecatoncheir. After defeating Hecatoncheir and obtaining the Fang of Earth, the 4 head to Doga's manor. When the 4 of them go to the mansion, they are guided by Doga's voice and transported to Doga's cave. Doga will tell that he and Yune are further inside the cave and say to come there. Go deeper into the cave and find Doga and Yune there. There, the 4 are told that they must kill the 2 of them in order to complete the Eureka key. The 4 refuse to battle the 2, but Doga says that they need the weapon sealed in Eureka now. He says that in order to get to Eureka, he needs the powerful energy generated by battle and forces they to battle. But, when the 4 still refuse to battle, Doga attacked them. After defeating Doga, Yune will attack the 4 of them. After the battle, the 4 are saddened, but Doga tells them there is no need to worry, even if our body is gone, our heart will not be lost. He then asks the 4 to stop Zand's evil deeds in Circus Tower. He then handed them the Eureka key and the Cypress key, both of which had been completed through battle. After using their 4 fangs to destroy the giant stone statues creating a barrier, the 4 reach the Ancient's Maze. There, the 4 discover an earth crystal, but Zand's assassins are waiting for them and attack them. The 4 won the battle and received new powers from the earth crystal. They then head through the Ancient's Maze to the Crystal Tower. Arriving at the Crystal Tower, they use the Eureka key to go to Eureka in search of the sealed weapon. Each sealed weapon has its own rule, and can obtain them by defeating them in battle. Dark Power of the Moonring Blade, Phantom Magic Sword Masamune, Holy Sword Excalibur. Elder Staff gives the title of the strongest profession ninja and sage. And they gets the most powerful sword, Ragnarok. After obtaining forbidden weapons and powers in Eureka, the four begin their ascent of the Crystal Tower. But, along the way, they are cursed by the evil dragon set by Xander, and are unable to move and find themselves in a difficult situation. Then, Doga's spirit appears and says he will bring 5 collaborators with him, then leaves the place. The 5 collaborators with hearts of light are Sarah of Sassoon, Sid of Canaan, Desh of the Ancients, Aelus of Saronia, and the leader of the Old Men of Amor. With the help of these 5 the curse is broken, and they reach the top floor, where they finally come face to face with Zan the demon. They defeat Zan in battle, but a dark rebellion has already begun, and the Cloud of Darkness is resurrected. The Cloud of Darkness attacks the 4, saying that it will annihilate everything. The 4 are defeated by the overwhelming power of Cloud of Darkness. The 5 people from before come over and call out to them, but they don't get up. At this time, the souls of Doga and Yune appear, and they offer to revive the 4 in exchange for their own souls. The souls of Doga and Yune entrust the peace of the world to the 4 of them before disappearing. The 4 resurrected beings go to the world of darkness to defeat Cloud of Darkness. Upon arriving in the world of darkness, they first set out to liberate the 4 dark crystals. Cerberus guards the dark crystal of wind. 2-headed dragon guards the dark crystal of fire. Echidna guards the dark crystal of water. And Ahriman guards the dark crystal of earth. They defeated these monsters and freed the 4 warriors of darkness. They hear various stories from the warriors of darkness. It was the warriors of darkness that stopped the rebellion of light 1,000 years ago. When the power of either light or darkness grows too great, the Cloud of Darkness is born and attempts to reduce everything to nothing. The only thing that can defeat the Cloud of Darkness is the hope of light and darkness. Then the Warrior of Light and the Warrior of Darkness decided to work together to defeat the Cloud of Darkness. When I reach Cloud of Darkness, she tells that I can't be defeated by the power of light alone. However, 4 dark warriors sacrifice their lives to suppress the dark power of the Cloud of Darkness. Thus begins the battle between Cloud of Darkness, who has lost his dark powers, and the 4 warriors of light.